Are you telling me you were born a baby, but then hormones turned you into an adult? Nice try, giant baby. Today, we're going to be looking at some memes. Yes, I was thinking to myself, what do I want to make a video about next? And we've been covering a lot of grim and dark stuff lately because the world is a pretty grim and dark place, and I thought a little levity is called for, a little joy. So I went and I scoured the internet and found a selection of memes that I at least hadn't seen before, and I thought I would share them with you all, and we can talk about them and enjoy them and have ourselves a wonderful time. So we're going to get right into it. But first, if you're new, do take a minute to hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel. It helps you get more stuff like this. It's a win-win for everybody. Now, with that said, here's our first one. Okay, so we've got a grumpy conservative person saying trans people need medical help. And then ostensibly a trans person says, my doctor prescribed me HRT. Not the answer the person was looking for. I dig it. It resonates because that's what transitioning is. So I really love it. Our next one is a little bitty frog. Just a little critter chilling out, having a good time. And a person says, you have to be male or female. And the frog says, bro, relax. I'm literally just attractive. I feel that. I have trouble thinking of myself as attractive. It seems egotistical or narcissistic, but this is very, very much a mood. It really resonates because there's so much non-binary erasure, even within the trans community. Like, people feel that you have to be male to female or female to male in order to be a real trans person. No, trans just means that you aren't the gender you were assigned at birth. I'm non-binary. I know lots of people who are non-binary. We exist. You don't have to be one or the other thing. Next, a person coming out. Mom, Dad, I have a girlfriend. Parents, oh, thank God. We've all thought you were gay. Me, I am. Ooh, the Uno reverse. It's a trans Uno reverse. I dig it. I enjoy this very much. Because, of course, your sexuality is also dependent on your own gender. It's not just who you like, it's who you are also. Because if you're a guy dating a guy, you're gay. If you're a girl dating a girl, you're a lesbian. But if you transition, then you become a guy dating a girl, or you become a girl dating a guy, and now you're straight. It's kind of fucked up that we organize things that way, but that's the way society chose to organize things. So yeah, when one piece of the puzzle shifts, the rest of it also shifts. I am the Lorax. I speak for the trans. Misgender them again and I'll cut off your hands. Okay, so not a fan of the violence, but you gotta love the Lorax. He stands up for what's right. Period. How can you hate such a fluffy little guy? But yes, don't misgender people. It's a dick thing to do, and you're not making yourself look any better by doing it, so maybe don't. We've got the brain size format. Little brain, ladies and gentlemen. Big brain, ladies, gentlemen, and others. It's more inclusive. It makes more sense, because now you're talking to everyone. Super brain, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. I dig that one. I've heard it a few times. It's not bad. And galactic brain, beardos and weirdos. Okay, I actually like that one a little bit less, but I see what they're getting at. That whole thing about, either you have a beard or you don't, but the word choice could be better. Next, it's a tweet that became a meme. Billionaires aren't self-made men. Trans men are self-made men. Well, yes, that's true. It touches on a couple of things. The whole economic thing, this conservative idea that the ultra-rich pulled themselves up by their bootstraps by working extra hard, when in reality, virtually all of them inherited their wealth, and wealth just attracts more wealth. They just get richer by existing. And, that's nice for them, but to call them self-made is just not true. Similarly, a person who doesn't inherit a ton of wealth, you literally cannot work hard enough to become a billionaire. You can't do it. Even if you made $1,000 an hour and worked every minute of every day for 10,000 years, you would still not be a billionaire. It just cannot be done. There is no hard work that can do it. So no, there is zero chance a billionaire is ever a self-made man. However, trans men very much are self-made men. They have to go through a lot of work to become men. So I get it. That tweet, it hits the spice in just a certain way. It's got a flavor to it, a certain texture that's really enjoyable. Ways to respond to being asked. Next, ways to respond to being asked, are you a man or a woman? We're back in non-binary land, which I, very much appreciate. Answers, I sure hope not. I get that one. Who's to say? So I filmed a movie a couple of years ago, and one of the cast members that was like her thing. She was making a bunch of TikToks at the time. People were mansplaining a lot of things to her, and it became her running joke. And so every time I see that, I think of her. Are you a man or a woman? Who's to say? Oh, that's between me and God. Well, I mean, if you want to keep a secret with your imaginary friend, that's fine. Whatever, I suppose. I'll tell you for $100. Okay, now we've got some capitalism in there. I don't know as I'd be, selling personal information like that. Now, don't get me wrong. I've done sex work in the past, but we're not talking about a service. We're talking about personal information. And I feel like 100 is just a little too cheap. But, I mean, is a witty comeback? Maybe, if that's your flavor. I don't think so. Why? Now that I like, because what's a person gonna? Are you a man or a woman? I don't think so. It's a false dichotomy, and it really is a false dichotomy. It's like, no, neither of those. Thanks, though. But also, why do you want to know? What business of yours is it? Are you a man or a woman? Probably. Not sure, though. Oh, goodness. So that one, it's a little bit more problematic because, most of us are pretty damn sure. But I do appreciate the probably. And then a follow-up, additional, collected from the notes. Not to my knowledge. Are you a man or a woman? Not to my knowledge. Again, with the false dichotomy. Appreciate that. Sometimes, gender fluid representation. Dig that. Shout out to our gender fluid friends. And wouldn't you like to know, weather boy? Absolutely. That's my personal favorite answer is, wouldn't you like to know? It's a little sly. It's a little mysterious. This one's a little less festive, but it does make a solid point. Monday, mass shooting. Tuesday, mass shooting. Wednesday, mass shooting. Thursday, mass shooting. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, mass shootings. Republicans, we gotta do something about trans people playing sports. Yes, that's it on so many levels. Because the entire reason the GOP is making a big deal out of trans people is to distract people from the actual issues, such as the uniquely American problem of having mass shootings daily. We maybe should do something about that, but nope, pay no attention to what's going on every street corner in this country. Watch out for those trans people. They're playing sports and things. Saying male to female instead of just trans woman is like referring to fully grown people as baby to adult. So, you used to be a baby? Are you telling me you were born a baby, but then hormones turned you into an adult? Nice try, giant baby. I dig that because that's exactly the vibe we get from transphobes. That's gender critical energy right there. It goes along the lines of the whole freaking thing with like the snail who looks at the butterfly and says, "You can't fool me. I know you're really a caterpillar." Clearly a butterfly. Obviously, things have changed. But no, you can never stop being what you were in the first moments you were in this world. Therefore, transphobes are giant babies by their own logic. Okay, this one had to be translated. The translation reads, "Hello, snowflake generation. I present to you the male and female ports." That would be, serial plugs and connectors and things. I know everything's USB now, but there are still a few of these around. You don't have to use ports, though. You can have plugs and sockets for anything, electrical devices, whatever. For some reason, humans like to gender everything, so some people refer to plugs and sockets as male and female, but whatever. And so Femboy Linux replies, "Look, a gender changer. Oops. Here's a thing that exists, snowflakes." So this one shows a furry person in a maid outfit, and a conservative man says, "Silly liberal, if you wear a dress, you're a girl." Why, thank you. And then we see a picture of a trans girl, and the conservative says, "Just because you wear a dress doesn't mean you're a girl." Would you make up my mind, please? The next one, people oppressing women and TERFs. The boot stomping on the women. And then we pull back and we see the boot is actually the person all along. Yes, it's funny, but also sadly, tragically too true. Because the TERFs only oppress women. That's all TERFs do, is spread misogyny and reinforce the patriarchy. But that's a whole other talk for another time. I don't want to bring the mood down too much on this one. We're back to religion. A bunch of sheep saying, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, hold it right there. He wasn't lost, we kicked him out." And then Jesus, with the trans sheep, says, "I know, and I found her." Now, not a fan of all the religious stuff, obviously. But the vibe here is dead on. Whether you believe in Jesus or not, this whole thing about, yes, she's her and belongs with the flock. I'm being inclusive. I'm being loving. I'm building communities. That's the point. Whether you worship Jesus or just think there's a couple of good ideas in his teachings, right on. And if you do worship Jesus, then you absolutely should be doing this, because that's exactly what Jesus stood for. That's a good one. This one's just too relatable. The first button says respect everyone and call them by their preferred name. The second button says dead name Twitter. Me. Very much me. You should respect everyone and call them by their preferred name. But also, it's just hilarious to dead name Twitter. Comedy, something. Yeah, I feel that. It's a mood. And we've got the Parks and Rec people. The first person says, "People would treat you more like a woman if you wore more woman's clothes." And the second person says, "Everything I wear is women's clothes because I am a woman." That, I feel that. Like, I am non-binary, but I lean a lot harder towards the femme side of things. I realize my looks may beg to differ. We're working on that, one thing at a time. But I very much more strongly connect to the femme side of things. And people say, "Well, you should dress more like a woman then." I am, whatever I'm dressed in. I'm dressed more like a woman because I'm more on the woman side. Eddie Izzard said something similar. People were like, "Well, you wear dresses and things all the time. You should wear men's clothes." And he says, "These are men's clothes. I'm a man and they're my clothes. I wear men's clothes. Whatever you own, those are your clothes." They're this idea of fashion types being imposed from the outside, it's really silly when you break it down. He who owns the libs. Oh, this is good. "Dear liberals, no matter how hard you try, trans men will never be women, and trans women will never be men. Facts over feelings." I mean, when you're right, you're right. I can't argue. He's absolutely correct. A trans man will never be a woman, and never has been a woman. It's true. And trans women will never be men. You can pass all the bathroom bills you like, it won't change who they are. Yeah, facts over feelings. After decades of multidisciplinary research, academics have decided that trans people are valid and should have access to medical treatments. But my feelings. And I love that. Fourth grade biology from 1978. So spot on. Because the only people who say, oh, it's just biological facts, it's elementary biology. Yeah, it is elementary biology. Like another meme that was running around a few years ago used to say, you know, when you're in elementary school, you get taught it's impossible to take the square root of -1. But then in higher math, you get taught that that's just the variable called I. There is an answer for that. And so on with various other school subjects until you get to biology, where you're taught in elementary school, there are men and there are women. And then in high school, you get taught more that there's more than that many species have other sexes, that sex is not the same as gender, and that every culture in the world has acknowledged multiple genders and non-binary genders forever, literally as long as there's been written history. So you have to cling to the immature elementary school level of knowledge in order to pretend there's only men and women is a biological fact. But my feelings, though, yes, very much yes. Transphobes be like, it's still sad. In case you somehow don't know, this is a Minecraft glass block. You melt the sand, you make the glass. And it's the same thing with real world sand. You melt the sand, you make the glass. Still sand, though. And that's exactly it. When you change the thing, it's no longer the thing it was, it's now the new thing. Because you've changed it, you can't pretend the change never happened. But transphobes try, so yes. Oh, a Hotel Transylvania meme. Transylvania. Mwahaha. The first one, the character realizing trans people hate crosses. Okay, that one's hit or miss. There are very religious trans people, but there does seem to be a higher incidence of non-religiousness amongst us, possibly because many religious denominations tell their congregants that they should hate us and or do horrible things in our general direction. So, not a lot of love for religion in our general region. The second one is realizing trans people are afraid of mirrors. Ow. Why you gotta come at me like that? Yeah. Now, that's not always true either. Once a person has fully transitioned and is actually okay with how they look, the mirror thing is less important. But until that point, dysphoria, it will ruin your day. Mirrors make your life hard, especially in the transitioning process. Like, before you start your transition, it's bad. But once you begin it, it somehow gets worse, because then you notice every little thing that is not right, and it's rough. So yeah, I get that one. And then the last one is realizing trans people can be killed by a stake to the heart. You got us. We're secretly vampires. As a author once pointed out, there are not many things that can't be killed by a stake through the heart. So yeah, it true. Next, remember these two? This is then and now. So I saw this movie with the kids, and the fact that the fire girl is named Ember. Oh my goodness, I was so freaking. I know it's just a coincidence of naming, but I was so there for it. I fucking loved it. Oh yeah. But I dig it because it shows that they kind of switched, and that's fucking fantastic. I really, really enjoy that. Next one, trans women are women and trans men are men, but what are non-binary people? Hot. The answer is hot. Again, I have a hard time claiming that one. I don't feel it, but I love it as an answer. What are non-binary people? We are pretty. Yes. And the last one, trans people, Hormones have made me finally feel good about and at home in my body for the first time ever in my life. Cis people, but aren't you worried that might be irreversible? Oh no. Heaven forbid the happiness might be irreversible. Whatever shall we do? That one is real. Alrighty, folks, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this little deviation into whimsy and wonder. And maybe, if you're new to this general region of the internet, perhaps you learned a couple of things. One can hope. Either way, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And as always, remember, you don't have to chase trans people down with mirrors and stakes and crosses, because you are better than religion.